So yeah, survival horror is something that we've had ever since the first Resident Evil, right? And so for us, survival horror means a lot of different things. Personally, what we feel like is survival horror is best represented by that tension that you get from the different encounters and the different gameplay, and then that release. So after you've come up to an enemy or something like that, and you've had all this tension from, oh my god, am I going to be able to get away, or am I going to be able to take it down? That release of finally having accomplished that.
なんでしょうね。
It's a great question.
Great question. すごく
So I mean, Okabe-san, he's basically been cursed in many different ways. Both his project has not seen the best luck sometimes, and so he's had plenty of nightmares where he's been cursed in different ways, but nothing really in specific that he'd be able to put into a video game. It's an interesting question, and for Resident Evil, we don't specifically sit there and go, what kind of Japanese things can we do in this game? What we actually try to do is we try to look at American culture, Western culture, and try to basically make the Resident Evil games kind of line up more with that kind of stuff. So, we watch a lot of, like Western horror movies and that kind of thing, and try to figure out just what it is that would, best work for Resident Evil. That being said, we are a bunch of Japanese guys working on video games, so we... More than likely, there are certain aspects of, the Japanese culture that get into the game passively, but nothing that, we specifically sit there and go, what is this great Japanese thing we could do in the game?
今回の作品でいくと当然この作品を作ってる間に公開されている映画だったりとかっていう。
Well, what we do is, because it is supposed to be a horror-focused series, what we do is we do watch a lot of horror films. And so, especially because, Resident Evil kind of started out with zombies, what we like to do, especially in between projects, is to kind of go back and watch, all kinds of different horror movies and other horror media together, and kind of study that and try to relearn, what exactly it is that makes horror horror. Okabe-san, obviously he grew up in Japan, and the first time he experienced Resident Evil was in Japan, so it was called Biohazard, right? So that being the sense, in that sense, he does kind of have he does prefer the Biohazard just because that's what he's used to. And the first time he did hear that, oh, okay, overseas they call it Resident Evil, he thought, wow, it's kind of different.
サイコロジカルなホラーなのかってことですか。
なのか、アクションなのかと。
僕らが今回、
There's no doubt that when we went to about developing the scenario of Revelations 2, that's something that we wanted to make horror focused, and so we do have psychological horror in there, and as you play through, you're going to see all kinds of different horror elements in the scenario. So we definitely try to make the focus on horror for this one. Yeah, there are fact taboos, and what happens is there's a couple different things, kind of different gameplay things that we thought would be fun to experiment with, but we figured we probably shouldn't do stuff like Natalia. Natalia is this 8-9-year-old girl, and we thought giving an 8 or 9-year-old girl a gun probably wouldn't be the best thing. We thought it'd be really cool. It could be a lot of fun, but yeah, from a ratings perspective, we should probably not try and do that this time. Games are interactive, right? And so right there, that really gives you an element that gives you the potential to really feel like you're, there. And in particular, games like Resident Evil Revelations 2, we've tried to really put a focus on, making people feel like they're there, and really giving them the kind of the scares that they get from just that immersion.